The year is 1444. Across Europe, a sense of destiny was growing. The Ottoman Empire, long feared and steadily expanding, was finally seen as vulnerable. A crusade was called, and thousands answered. Knights, mercenaries, and soldiers marched under a single belief. This would be the moment they pushed the Ottomans back for good. At the center of it all stood a young king, Ladislaus of Hungary. Brave, ambitious, and determined to prove himself, he carried not just a crown, but the hopes of an entire alliance. Beside him were seasoned commanders who had fought countless battles. Together, they formed a force that seemed unstoppable. To them, this campaign wasn't a gamble, it was a certainty. As the Crusader army advanced through the Balkans, reports began to spread. The Ottomans were retreating, villages were abandoned, roads were left open. It felt as if the enemy had already accepted defeat. Confidence turned into boldness, boldness into overconfidence. But far from the Crusaders' view, something unexpected was happening. Sultan Murad II, who had previously stepped away from power, returned. The threat was too great to ignore. He took command once more, gathering his forces with precision and discipline. This was no broken army. It was one preparing carefully, deliberately. By the time the Crusaders reached the plains near Varna, the illusion began to crack. The Ottomans were waiting. What had seemed like a pursuit now became a confrontation. On November 10th, 1444, the battle began. At first, everything unfolded just as the Crusaders had imagined. Their attacks pushed forward. Ottoman units appeared to fall back. Lines shifted. Dust filled the air as steel clashed against steel. Victory felt close, almost within reach. But something wasn't right. The Ottoman center held firm, stronger than expected. The Janissaries, disciplined and unshaken, did not break. Even as pressure mounted, they stood their ground with unnatural calm. It wasn't a collapse. It was control. The battlefield began to change shape. What had looked like retreat started to feel like design. The Crusaders were advancing, but into what? Then came the moment that would decide everything. King Ladislaus saw an opportunity. If the center could be broken, the entire Ottoman army might collapse. One decisive strike could end the battle instantly. Without hesitation, he gathered his cavalry and charged straight toward the heart of the enemy. It was a gamble, and for a brief moment, it seemed like it might work. The charge cut deep. The distance closed. The king pushed forward with relentless force. But as he advanced, the space around him tightened. The Janissaries did not scatter. They closed in. Within seconds, the momentum was gone. The charge slowed. The king's unit became isolated, surrounded. What had looked like a breakthrough turned into a trap. Chaos erupted. In the confusion, King Ladislaus was struck down. No dramatic last stand, no time for rescue. Just a sudden, irreversible end. And with his fall, something far more powerful collapsed. The spirit of his army. News spread quickly across the battlefield. The king was dead. Confidence shattered. Formation dissolved. What had once been a coordinated force turned into panic. Soldiers began to retreat. Some tried to regroup. Others simply fled. The battle was no longer a fight. It was a collapse. Sultan Murad II's forces pressed forward, turning disorder into defeat. What had started as a hopeful crusade ended in devastating failure. By the end of the day, the plains of Varna were silent. The cost was immense, the loss undeniable. For the Ottomans, it was a decisive victory, one that secured their position in Europe for years to come. But for the Crusaders, it became something else entirely. A lesson, not about strength or numbers, but about misjudgment. They had believed the battle was already won. They had mistaken movement for weakness, silence for surrender, and confidence for certainty. But war doesn't follow expectations. And at Varna, that truth was written in the clearest way possible. What was meant to be an easy victory became a complete disaster.